Hello, it's a lovely good evening. Today, the 6th of October 2021. To present Camnet TV main news, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Headlines in the news tonight: negative perception on COVID-19 vaccines prompts government to relaunch the program. Domestic workers to start reporting bad employers on a toll-free line. Non-state actors implore government to stabilize the KWACHA. And in international news, Biden and Xi discuss Taiwan amid spike in CROSS-STRAIT tensions. And in sports news, the National Sports Council justifies limitations in funding sports federations.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we're here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Another news in detail. The residents of Lusaka's Chawama constituency in John Howard compound have called on the area ward councillor to facilitate the construction of drainages before the onset of the rain season. During the 2020-2021 rainy season, Chawama was among the most affected areas by flash floods that ravaged most peri-urban areas of Lusaka. They say the area is prone to floods owing to the fact that the drainages are shallow, hence water ends up in their households. Where Patrick Soko has more in the following report.
The rainy season is fast approaching and some Lusaka residents are panicking as some compounds are prone to floods. Just like in Munali, Mandevo and Kanyama constituencies among others, Chawama constituency is one such area affected by floods, with Misisi compound being the worst. Houses near the Ngwenya Dam usually submerge in water, hence people are usually compelled to move to higher grounds with support from the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU. Although the move is said to be unsustainable, and certainly this year will be no exception if the country receives normal to above normal rainfall. Within the constituency in John Howard Compound, Ward 3, the situation is usually the same when it rains. The residents of this community are asking the local authority and the area councillor Ponsiro Piri to facilitate the construction of drainages using part of the CDF resources.
Mayanganepo pa drainage. Stifuna kuvutika manzi kwamboenda manzi kuzula manyumba mwatu. Boma mtiyanganepo.
Pamene taima pano pamene pankhala chidamu cha manzi. Tifuna drainage akansera.
Mutiyanganirepo mukube migodi. Manzi petankala pano manzi amazula kusongera mu manyumba. Awo tiyanganire nkoni wa boma.
The residents hope that the United Party for National Development Administration will certainly put things in order, as successive governments have not done enough to address the situation.
Youth empower ija ifunika na nkuno ngati wakansela watu wachita organize wafana wangakumbe na miforo chikuru mwawalemba mwatanzirako nasi zapezekapo nasi tuwatanzira tuwachita monitor David Ngapembe kuchira wafana wazimoche wakumwa makachasu wapepa mafwaka isigudu ngati wakansela watu tankala nao pansi watandizira konse kutakumba kumba mchemushe tiliko na chidampa fupa pa chalize chako watu manze yaeni.
But kulipe paneti naonapo ese kuna kujiona watu so tipempa hii boma yani ya bwera hii tipempa na wakansera wamene oro ni wa PF, but already apatambira kuti ndrama za choka za Constituency Development Fund tazimvera izi ndrama vatikire konzeru pa drainages because pantaimirira pano pamangala manzi whereby kulipe muntu aliyense wanenga achitenani angaende
tulabunda so pati ute manage kuka papa munuma manje ndishitwikala shani so abantu kote ba cancel aba batposele kwa mano previous aliko pa first apa twaliyesheshe bafirwa so abantu lomba manje batuposele kwa manai.
By broadcast time, efforts to get a comment from area ward councillor proved futile. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Alliance for Community Action has expressed concern over the one-sized approach of disbursement of the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) by local government, saying the policy needs to be revisited to attain development equity. SCA Senior Information and Advocacy Officer Jimmy Maliseni explains that the one-sized approach of funding does not promote the eco-constituency development across the country. Mr. Maliseni also says the lack of formation of the ward development committees in constituencies deprives the opportunity for communities to participate in the development process. He said this during an exclusive interview with Camnet TV Wednesday afternoon.
During the ministerial statement Wednesday, October 5, 2021, the Minister of Local Government, Mr. Gary Nkombo, announced the release of the 249,600,000 kwacha as part of the Constituent Development Fund (CDF) for all the 156 constituencies across the country. Each constituency has been allocated with an even amount of 1.6 million kwacha for members of parliament to embark on their respective development projects in their respective areas. The Alliance for Community Action Senior Information Officer Jimmy Maliseni has explained that the one-sized approach of funding does not promote the eco-constituency development across the country.
Give them the same amount of money as Lusaka, whose demands are much higher. Our belief as an organization is that that principle, we should begin to think about the Constituency Development Fund in that way, because the demands that we have on, say, Kanyama constituency are very different from those of Lusaka Central, even more different from those of Kanchilia, from those of Serenje, from those of Chitambo or Ikelengi. And what we believe is that the way the Local Government Equalization Fund tends to direct more resources based on the demand for them to urban local authorities, municipalities, municipal councils and city councils, the Constituency Development Fund, in our view, would do better to do the opposite. That is to direct more resources to more needy areas, to more needy constituencies.
Mr. Maliseni has further expressed concern over the lack of formation of ward development committees in constituencies, for it deprives the opportunity of communities to participate in the development process.
It's people, because the way the law has been made by our parliament is such that this is a fund that the local people, the grassroots people, must have a direct input. The role of the Constituency Development Fund Committee, as prescribed in the Constituency Development Fund Act, is very clear as well. It is to prioritize the projects that they have received from the WDC, not to initiate their own projects. And that project list, that which they then send to the Minister of Local Government, now Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, is to be understood, according to the Act, is to be understood as a priority list, meaning that the project that is number one is going to be understood as the one that is most urgent, most pressing, and essentially the priority for the constituency. But the initial identification of those projects must be done at the Ward Development Committee. That is how we understand the law.
Despite the introduction of the CDF in 1995, the provision of and access of basic essential public services by local communities has remained poor in Zambia. It is in this regard that stakeholders investigate the usage of Constituency Development Fund, hoping that the new government will revisit and secure prosperity for ordinary Zambian people. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Some civil society organizations have stressed the need for government to pursue a macroeconomic program that will deal with the unstable kwacha, high inflation and high interest rates, as they are crucial for the recovery of the economy. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka Wednesday, Consumer Unity Trust Society Center Director Claudia Pollen says the government needs to invest in human capital, establish a multi-sectoral debt and fiscal framework, as well as undertake innovative and creative measures to broaden partnership with the private sector. Meanwhile, Center for Young Leaders in Africa Executive Director Mulunga Shimbela says the path to economic recovery lies on policy reforms which are key at strengthening the debt management policy framework, which includes debt management strategies and debt sustainability analysis. We have more in the following report.
Several stakeholders have raised concerns about the Zambia's economic performance over the past years and in recent months. While growth has declined considerably over the past 10 years and GDP growth rate has declined, leading to various negative consequences in the economy, ensuring that the Zambian economy gets back to its right trajectory is a call from civil society organizations who held a meeting Wednesday morning in Lusaka. The civil society organizations have since made several recommendations to the Zambian government, which they say, if adopted, Zambia will be on its way to economic recovery.
So we are of the view that pursuing a macroeconomic program that will deal with the unstable KWACHA, high inflation, high interest rates is crucial. Investing in human capital, establishing a multi-sectoral debt and fiscal framework, and indeed undertaking innovative and creative measures to broaden partnerships with the private sectors and to mobilize additional resources will allow the path for economic recovery.
Meanwhile, the agriculture sector is one of the key priority sectors in economic growth and poverty reduction, yet its contribution to GDP has been declining from 9.6% in 2011 to 2.7% in 2020. The Center for Young Leaders in Africa says there is need for the revision of the policies in the agriculture sector in order to make it more sustainable.
We need more investment in agriculture, but we need consistent and clear policies that support the production and value addition of these produces that are produced out of the agriculture sector. Of course, for us to produce, we need investment. We need correct investment.
The CSOs have also called for reforms which are key at strengthening the debt management policy framework.
Legal reforms such as the Loans and Guarantees Authorization Act of 1994 need to be amended. There is need to align parliamentary oversight in debt contraction, increase transparency and accountability, and develop borrowing plans before contracting debt.
So indeed, we would like to see going forward that this debt situation is dealt with, the economic growth is pursued, but also we improve budgetary performance for all these key social sectors. We reinvest this funding to make sure that when we allocate money to health, education, water, sanitation and hygiene, and the other social sectors, this money is reinvested and used for that purpose.
The high debt levels have continued to rob the country of the much-needed development. Ensuring that a well-stipulated debt sustainability plan is quickly put in place will offer a solution to some of the challenges the country currently faces. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has revealed that it will soon introduce a toll-free line for domestic workers to report any form of mistreatment in a bid to create decent employment opportunities for them. Speaking during the commemoration of the Day for Decent Work with a focus on domestic workers, Minister of Labour and Social Security, Ms. Brenda Tambatamba, says domestic workers are subjected to low pay as most employees do not adhere to the minimum wage for domestic workers, physical abuse, no-leave days, undefined working hours and other forms of injustices, making them one of the most vulnerable employed population. Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Federation for Free Trade Unions in Zambia, FFTUZ President Chingati Msiska states that the sensitization is key as most employers are not aware of labor laws on domestic workers. We have more in this report.
Estimates from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security in Zambia indicate that there are more than 97,000 domestic workers in the country whose jobs can be broken down into gardening, housekeeping and babysitting. However, records from the same ministry show that these workers are often paid below the minimum wage of 840 kwacha per month. They are also often reportedly physically abused, denied leave days, and are also subject to sexual harassment among other injustices. Zambia is signatory to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, with goal number 8 hoping to achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all by 2030. The current working conditions for domestic workers in Zambia, however, do not show that the country is on the right track to achieving this goal. It is in this vein that Minister of Labour and Social Security Ms. Brenda Tambatamba says the ministry under the new administration will embark on new reforms to improve the working conditions of domestic workers. She was speaking during the commemoration of the Day for Decent Work with the focus on domestic workers. The minister asked that the new administration will also embark on revising minimum wages for different sectors to address challenges they are facing.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has established a call center where any of the ill-treated, underpaid and abused domestic workers should report, or cases of this nature should be reported. My ministry will ensure that such cases are investigated and dealt with in accordance with the provisions of the law. I also urge domestic workers to refrain from taking the law into their own hands. They should instead report any issues of ill treatment, abuse to the necessary authorities.
International Labour Organization ILO country representative Mr. George Okutho has suggested introducing written contracts for domestic workers to ensure that agreements are binding. Meanwhile, Federation for Free Trade Unions in Zambia FTTUZ President Mr. Chingati Msiska in an interview says the reforms will help in making domestic workers less vulnerable.
We have laws, and very good laws, and we have these policies on paper, but we want to believe that this time around they are going to be actualized and everyone else is going to benefit. You know, a domestic worker should not be marginalized, and those are matters that are of concern, because basically without a domestic worker there is no work output.
The meeting was attended by various representatives from the labor movement. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Ministry of Health says it will continue to work with different stakeholders in the elimination of tuberculosis, of which the country has seen a progression of 64% reduction in tuberculosis cases from the year 2000 to 2020, respectively. Ministry Director of Public Health, Dr. Andrew Silumesi, said through the National Tuberculosis and Leprosy Control Program and dissemination of TB mortality study findings, government wants to see TB cases come to an end in the country. Dr. Silumesi has added that Zambia wishes to reach 0 deaths in tuberculosis. More in the following report.
As one of the major causes of morbidity and one of the country's top 10 causes of mortality, tuberculosis continues to pose a public health threat in Zambia. Ministry of Health says it will continue to work with different stakeholders in the elimination of tuberculosis, of which the country has seen a progression of 64% reduction in tuberculosis cases from the year of 2000 to 2020 respectively.
Zambia is determined to eliminate TB in this country. To achieve TB elimination, TB incidence and TB mortality should reduce by 80% and 90% respectively by 2030 compared to the 2015 figures. It is against this background that the ministry, through the National TB Leprosy Program, adopted a vision of 0 deaths, disease and suffering due to TB. I'm pleased to note that Zambia has made remarkable progress in reducing TB mortality over the last 2 decades.
Dr. Silumesi says government wishes to reach 0 deaths caused by tuberculosis,
resulting in reducing TB mortality by a factor of 64% between the year 2000 and the year 2020. Further, TB mortality has declined by 30% from 115 per 100,000 population in 2015 to 81 per 100,000 people in 2020. The 30% achievement is just 5% short of 35% milestone set in the World Health Organization Global NTB strategy milestones towards ending TB in the world.
Together with the Ministry of Health, the U.S. government is encouraged by Zambia's continued progress in reducing illness and death due to TB, despite the challenges related to COVID-19 pandemic. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government says it will, Thursday, the 7th of October 2021, relaunch the COVID-19 vaccination program in the country, which will be led by Republican President Hakainde Hichilema. Speaking at a press briefing held at State House Wednesday, COVID-19 Presidential Advisor Roma Chilengi says the country has witnessed a low response to the vaccination program by members of the general public. Mr. Chilengi says the threat of the fourth wave may have a negative consequence on the economy if members of the general public do not get vaccinated. He says the fight against COVID-19 should not be politicized, but that all stakeholders, including politicians, should join the fight and encourage citizens to get vaccinated.
As exemplified by my appointment at State House, that we have to take the matter of COVID as a national priority. And in doing so, we are working towards a relaunch of the vaccine program tomorrow. And we want to demonstrate to the country that this is an important matter. And in doing that, the head of state himself is going to lead that activity together with other public leaders. We are talking about other leaders in government, members of parliament, opposition leaders, traditional leaders, religious leaders, and various community stakeholders that need to come to the table and agree that at the moment, vaccination is the hope we have in mitigating the fourth wave of COVID.
Medicines Research and Access Platform, MEDRAP Executive Director Lyoka has called on the United Party for National Development to pay attention to the issue of debt owed to medicine suppliers. Recently, the Ministry of Health disclosed that it owes medicine suppliers about 2.2 billion kwacha rather. And Mr. Lyoka notes the need to improve the medicines procurement process to avoid crippling the suppliers. He says the drugs debt must be treated with the seriousness it deserves, adding that delayed payments negatively affect medicines supplies.
This is a problem that has been there for a long time. We understand that the ministry has been owing local suppliers for a long time. Now, we must understand that in the rules of commerce and industry, there cannot be supplies of commodities, if the money is not trickling the other side. There's got to be that exchange coming from time to time. And because of that, this has caused a huge problem for the local suppliers of these, commodities, to an extent where they are not able to continue supplying the Ministry of Health with more of these, medicines. And you can see the repercussion has been that ultimately there has been a shortfall in, the provision and availability of these essential commodities, including family planning commodities. Now, we must understand that this problem cannot be allowed to persist for any longer. And especially that we are now in the new dispensation. We would like to advise government to look at the problem of the local drug debt that is owed to local suppliers with the seriousness that it deserves, because it is causing a ripple effect in terms of availability of the essential medicines. And also you realize that because this debt has been standing for a long time, there has been losses on the part of the suppliers because of the inconsistencies in our local currency.
The United Party for National Development, UPND Alliance Council of Presidents, has challenged Lumezi Independent Member of Parliament Munia Zulu to name the alleged culprits who are aiding Patriotic Front officials to hide proceeds of crime at their law firms if he is serious about contributing to the fight against corruption in the new government. The Lumezi MP Tuesday made these allegations, stating that he has evidence of some alliance members who are aiding Patriotic Front officials who were involved in corruption to hide the proceeds of corruption at their law firms, an act which amounts to criminality. Speaking on behalf of the Alliance Council of Presidents Wednesday, Alliance spokesperson Mr. Leslie Chikuse states that only 3 lawyers belonging to the UPND Alliance have law firms and has called on Mr. Zulu to name the culprits so that the law can take its course, stating that failure to do so will be treated as defamation. We have more in the following report.
The new administration with its alliance partners have been announcing their commitment to fighting corruption and ensuring that all perpetrators responsible for the loss of millions that the country has incurred are brought to book. Shocking revelations have come forward, alleging that alliance partners of the new administration are actually aiding alleged corrupt individuals from the previous administration to hide proceeds of corruption. Lumezi Independent Member of Parliament Mr. Munia Zulu made these allegations Tuesday.
The UPND Alliance members, those partners, I'm challenging them today that they should stop aiding criminals hide vehicles at their offices, at their law firms. There is a certain Mr. Kangwa who is closer to one of the UPND Alliance partners who has been calling the permanent secretaries that were fired that we are going to offer you protection if you declare that which you have or that which you've stolen.
These allegations have unsettled the United Party for National Development UPND Alliance, as they feel that the statements imply that the new administration has no intentions of curbing this vice. Addressing the media Wednesday, UPND Alliance spokesperson Mr. Leslie Chikuse has challenged the Lumezi MP to come clean and name the culprits, saying the head of state emphasized that the police would be allowed to conduct their work professionally. He says that failure to do so within 24 hours will be treated as defamation, which is suable.
So such a very, very blanket allegation puts us in a very awkward position as a Council of Presidents, and therefore we feel that it is important that we ask Mr. Munia Zulu, the Independent Member of Parliament, to be specific on who of the Alliance president. I know that he has talked about a law firm, meaning that he is trying to bring to perspective the lawyers that are practicing lawyers. And we want to state that in the Council of Presidents we have 3 practicing lawyers, that is President Akafumba, President Mansa, and President Kelvin Fouet. And all these lawyers are lawyers of integrity, men of integrity. And our viewpoint is that that allegation is meant to disparage the good image of the UPND Alliance.
The Alliance spokesperson asked that the space has been provided for all those with information which can lead to the arrest of corrupt individuals to report such matters. He has questioned why some whistleblowers would choose to go to the media, unlike to the police or other law enforcement agencies. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Lusaka Union of Marketeers Cooperatives has commended the Kitwe Municipal Council for the move of arresting and prosecuting people buying merchandise from undesignated trading places in an effort to curb street vending. In an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Union Secretary General Moffat Mangoni says the political will demonstrated by the Kitwe City Council Town Clerk Mbolo Seke is welcome in the trading fraternity and must be emulated by the Lusaka City authorities. Meanwhile, Organized Vendors and Traders Society Chairperson Jeffrey Kabwe has underscored the need to sensitize the street vendors and buyers who opt the streets to designated trading places in Lusaka. More in the following report.
Street vending is one of the major activities in the formal economy and it is known to be an old practice that has always had a presence in the composition of cities. However, street vending in Zambia is illegal and considered as a public nuisance. The practice is as a result of various factors, which include the lack of infrastructure to accommodate the vendors, but more so their unwillingness by vendors to trade in designated places. To respond to this vice, on the Copper Belt, the Quito Municipal Council reviewed its plans of arresting and prosecuting people buying merchandise from undesignated trading places in an effort to keep street vending. This move has been supported by some stakeholders. During an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, the Lusaka Union Marketeers Cooperative Secretary General, Moffat Mangoni, has welcomed the move, explaining the political will demonstrated should be emulated by Lusaka city authorities.
Markets in Lusaka, we have a number of markets which are almost empty, where we can easily accommodate some of these traders that are trading in the streets. Now, what happened in Kitwe? For us, we support that. It's a good move, because when each and every marketeer or person happens to trade in a marketplace, this will help even the government to manage the resources that's supposed to go to the government. And thereafter, these resources will be put to good use to maintain and upgrade these markets.
He has since encouraged traders to take advantage of spaces provided by government to easily attract support.
I think it's not really difficult. Earlier on I mentioned of political will. Okay? We just need political will to make everyone understand that it is very important for them to trade in a well-mannered way of doing business. I'll give an example. Somebody must appreciate that when you are trading in the streets, there are no toilets. Where do you help yourself? Okay? And it's just important for somebody to trade in the market. And even the government to support these marketeers. It will be very difficult for them to identify them and even give them support that we have been expecting. But if they are in one place, let's say Simon Market, when it's finished and people go there, the government will have the opportunity, and it will be very easy for the government to identify their needs and how best they can help to uplift their businesses to grow in those markets. I think we just need to have a lot of education to our members that they should take advantage of Simon Market when it opens.
Meanwhile, Organized Vendors and Traders Society chairperson Jeffrey Kabwe has underscored the need to sensitize the vendors and buyers who opt the streets over the designated trading places in Lusaka.
That's why even us as an organization, we don't represent street vendors. We advocate for organized vending, ensuring that people are not in the streets and people are taken to better and healthy markets. That's our mandate. So what has happened in the Copper Belt is a welcome move. If you want to keep our city, we want to have more revenue coming to the local authority so that in return, they build more beautiful and healthy markets. They bring all incentives, enough water in the markets. By so doing, helping the government. So my appeal and my statement is that let's not entertain goofy. What is happening here in Kitwe is a very progressive step, and we need this to be reciprocated here in Lusaka.
Government through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has on a number of occasions warned that street vending will not be tolerated, but this should be on a condition that councils to first avail trading spaces to those trading on the street. It is then that the law should take its course on those that will not comply. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Chingola Municipal Council has called on all booth owners and agents to pay trading permits annually as opposed to the monthly fee. The municipality has stated that the booth owners in the Central Business District are required to pay 732 kwacha yearly, while those in peripheral areas are to pay 565 kwacha respectively. The local authority has added that all payments should be remitted to the Civic Center revenue officers and not to individuals. Chingola Municipal Council has furthermore requested that all stations of operation should place copies of certificates of installation permits on their premises. According to the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 8th of April 2021, the Education, Housing and Social Services Committee under minute number HSS-535/11/2020 considered and reported for information that the payment of annual business levies for booths was effected in the month of January 2021. The Council is therefore urging all to comply with the above mentioned or stringent actions would follow. This is according to a statement issued to Camnet TV by Chingola Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Nambela Kiombela. You're watching Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960-344-471.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NAKEZ Executive Director Aaron Chansa has bemoaned the long distance to schools in rural areas, stating that most of them have an average distance of about 12 kilometers from the nearest village. Speaking in IMPLORE District of Northern Province, Mr. Chansa says there is need for the new government to consider building schools within a radius close to village settlements once they embark on their school construction program in order to allow more pupils to attend school. He explains that the long distance has always acted as a deterrent to attaining education, especially for girls who fear many dangers along the way, such as sexual harassment, countering the goal to attain universal access to education for all Zambian citizens by the year 2030.
In IMPLORE District of Northern Province, visiting various schools and also meeting teachers, just to get the challenges that our teachers are going through and also the challenges that our sector faces. And one of the greatest challenges that we have found here in IMPLORE District is a lack of school spaces. There are very, very few schools, especially in the rural part of this district. And no wonder most of our girls are dropping out of school. We are extremely concerned about this. And our appeal to the new government is to make sure that more schools are built, especially boarding schools for girls. Otherwise, if this is not done, we are going to see many of our girls dropping out of school. This is against the spirit of the 7th National Development Plan and also the Vision 2030 would want to encourage many girls attend school, and this is the only way we are going to make sure that no one is left behind. So we are concerned about the distances between schools. It's not good for education, it's not good for this country, and we need change in this area.
A governance activist, Louis Mwape, has noted with concern the low progression rates of pupils into secondary schools on account of limited infrastructure. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mwape says lack of resources is hindering access to education, especially in rural areas. Mr. Mwape says the concept of rural teacher deployment has only succeeded on paper, as it only works as a means of recruitment, adding that there is no rural teacher retention strategy. He has further noted that the ratio of primary to secondary schools is not matched, hence resulting into low progression rates, especially in rural areas, as many parents are unable to sustain costs associated to boarding schools.
Or other infrastructure, but without looking at a teacher. I think time has come when a government that is more committed to ensure that we have our teachers' issues being fixed, and also ensuring that our schools, especially in the rural areas, are well staffed. I think there is a lot of inequalities in our education systems. When you look at even infrastructure themselves, you find that the infrastructure at the secondary level are inadequate, and when it comes to rural areas, you find that there are more primary schools in rural areas than the secondary schools. So they need to ensure that we match the infrastructure development so that we reduce on the dropout ratios and also increase on the progression rates, especially the girl child, because in the rural areas it is very difficult for a girl child to cover a long distance or even to be exposed to the conditions of weekly boarding. So if that is the case, we see a lot of our girls dropping out of schools.
The 9 United Party for National Development members suspected of killing 2 Patriotic Front members have been taken back to court after they were rearrested last month. The 9 are accused of killing Danny Kasongo and David Kawunda, all members of the opposition PF. Their case was last month discontinued by the state through a nolle prosequi, but were immediately rearrested on the same charge of 2 counts of murder. We have more in this report.
The 9 UPND members whose freedom was short-lived after police officers rearrested them at the Lusaka's Magistrate Court immediately after their murder case was discontinued are back in court. The accused were dragged to court in August 2021 on allegations that they killed Danny Kasongo and David Kawunda, both members of the Patriotic Front, during the election period when PF and UPND members clashed in Lusaka's Kanyama compound. The 2 were killed at the Patriotic Front camp located at Kanyama Ward 13 along Basela Road. On the 24th of September 2021, the state discontinued their murder case via a nolle prosequi, but their freedom was short-lived as the police rearrested them even before they could leave the court premises and sent them back to prison, a move that angered their counterparts who went to give them solidarity. The enraged cadres started shouting and throwing insults as police officers tried to contain the situation. Samson Mumba, Kelvin Banda, a juvenile aged 16, John Mwanza, Njekwa Puteo, Ruben Nalikani, Mwendawa Inamushi, Elijah Kawewe, and John Walia have once again been slapped with the same offense of 2 counts of murder, which they are alleged to have committed on the 30th of July 2021. Following their rearrest, the accused, whose matter was on Wednesday morning reallocated to a different magistrate, are expected to appear in court soon for an explanation of their offense and possible committal to the High Court for trial proceedings. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A resident of Mansa District in Northwestern Province, Joseph Mpundu, says the decision taken by Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Elijah Muchima to suspend the harvesting of mukula is illegal. In a letter written to the minister, Mr. Mpundu has charged that a judgment was already passed in an application for judicial review between the Zambia Association of Timber and Forestry-Based Industries versus the Director of Forestry, who was the first respondent, and the Attorney General, who was the second respondent, before Honorable Mrs. Justice Mapani Kawimbe on the 28th day of June 2018. According to the judgment, the action taken by the first respondent and the former Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Jean Kapata, to ban timber exports at a press briefing held on the 13th of June 2017 was illegal and not supported by any provision in the Forestry Act. Mr. Mpundu says the law stipulates that only the Director of Forestry is authorized to suspend or cancel a license or permit under the Forestry Act. He says the only reason why the first respondent acted outside the law was due to the fact that President Edgar Lungu intervened into the matter. He has since advised Mr. Muchima not to fall into the same trap as the previous administration. Kalengwa Mineral Processing Limited has applied for leave to apply for judicial review in a matter in which it is seeking its 25-year license to be added on the Zambia Mining Cadastre Map Portal website. They are further seeking an order of mandamus to compel the Director of Mining Cadastre to update the portal, and if leave is applied and is granted, a direction that the hearing of the application for judicial review be expedited. According to the affidavit in support of application for judicial review and for stay of execution sworn by Moses Chikasula, a director at the company, he states that the company had engaged consultants to procure a mineral processing license in Northwestern Province of Zambia. We have more in this report.
Kalengwa Mineral Processing Limited has commenced judicial review proceedings against government in a matter in which it is seeking its 25 years license to be added on the Zambia Mining Cadastre Map Portal website. The battle over the Kalengwa mine issue has been there for almost 15 years, with its now chapter of the saga applying for judicial review and citing the Attorney General as the respondent. According to the affidavit in support of the application for judicial review and for stay of execution sworn by Moses Chikasula, a director at the company, states that the company had engaged consultant to procure a mineral processing license in the northern western province of Zambia. He stated in his submission before court that the company became aware that for it to be granted a mineral processing license as sought, it had to have title to the land over which the application was made or have the consent of the owner of the land, and that it should have the financial resources, technical competence. He had noted that the state, through the Mines Cadastral Office, maintains an electronic register called the Zambia Mining Cadastre Web Portal, and upon launching the application, the portal was accordingly updated to reflect that the applicant had so made an application. He added that after the issuance of the license, the state neglected to update the portal details as it has done for all other issued licenses, and the company has made follow-ups but to no avail. He adds that the said neglect to update the web portal has caused the applicant to be unattractive for financing, as would-be and current investors are apprehensive and have to seek further assurance from the company with regards to its license. The company is therefore seeking an order granting the company leave to apply for judicial review and a declaration and an order that the negligence by the Director of Mining Cadastral Department at the Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development to update the Zambia Mining Cadastral Map Portal website to indicate that the applicant has an active mineral processing license valid for 25 years from the 27th of October 2020 relating to the minerals cobalt and copper is unlawful. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
You're watching Camnet TV. We take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. And in international news, Taiwan's defense minister says tensions with neighboring China are the worst they have been in 40 years. It follows 4 days of repeated incursions by Chinese warplanes into the island's air defense zone. Beijing regards the island as a breakaway territory that will undergo unification by force if necessary. For more international news, here's a roundup.
The approach of nearly 150 warplanes in waves sent over several days has clearly alarmed Taiwan. Speaking at a session of Taiwan's parliament, Defense Minister KWACHA warned that in 4 years, China would be capable of invading the island.
China does not currently possess such capabilities, but we must consider the consequences. In our judgment, by 2025, they will have more comprehensive capabilities.
Taiwan regularly holds drills to prepare for such an invasion. Thanks in part to sophisticated military equipment from its ally, the United States, it's so far been confident of deterring any aggression. But China's rapid military buildup has been closing that gap.
I think Beijing is looking to put enormous pressure psychologically and operationally on Taiwan, including the Taiwan society as well as the Taiwan armed forces.
It also appears to be looking to undermine Taiwan's president, Tsai Ing-wen, who has been cold to the idea of closer relations and is seen by China as an obstacle to its ultimate goal of unification. With these latest incursions, it seems Beijing wants to send a message about the changing dynamics across the Taiwan Strait, not only to Taiwan, but to the international community, including the United States, at a time of increasing tensions with Washington. In an apparent attempt to de-escalate the situation, US President Joe Biden weighed in on the ongoing tensions. Biden seemed to confirm the United States' continued commitment to giving China diplomatic recognition in return for Beijing not threatening Taiwan militarily.
We agree we'll abide by the Taiwan agreement. That's where we are. And we made it clear that I don't think he should be doing anything other than abiding by the agreement.
This latest spat comes at a significant moment for the two neighbours, with China having just marked the October 1st anniversary of its founding and Taiwan about to celebrate its National Day. And both with very differing ideas on what their future relationship should look like.
They have been fishing in the coastline in the Bay of Bengal for centuries, using skills and trade passed down through the generations. But Bangladesh's once thriving Hindu fishing community of more than 500,000 people is now facing a devastating threat: climate change. Khudiram Das, now in his 40s, has been fishing in the bay since he was a teenager, like his ancestors.
There just isn't enough fish to catch, unlike the days of our forefathers. Because of changes in the environment and climate, there are more cyclones now. Weather patterns change frequently, which is why the fish stock is diminishing. Even in the peak sessions now, we don't get enough.
The bay's natural ecosystem are also under severe threat by environmental pressures. Every morning, the fishermen leave for the deep sea and they come back by late evening. But they say the catches are not as good as they used to be. They blame partly the weather and the pollution in the sea. Khurshid Alam from a local charity that assists the community fears the traditional way of Jolodash, which is what they're known as here, is gradually eroding because of new challenges.
As fish is declining, they have to shift their profession from fishing to other. But the traditional old people, those who are living on fishing since their birth, it is very difficult for them to switch off from fishing to other profession. But the young generation are now shifting to jobs, to business, to other labor jobs, etc.
Some manage to find work as unskilled day laborers in the nearby shipbreaking industries or work as rickshaw pullers.
We are facing many problems, like the recent lockdown and the annual fishing ban imposed by the government. As fishermen, it's hard for us to find other work. Many of us have also taken out loans, so it's hard days for us.
Several large rivers empty into the bay, carrying vast tides of untreated sewage, plastic and waste from shipbreaking yards and other industries, endangering sensitive marine life.
All these various industries you see around here are polluting the sea and harming the fish stock. Our fishing nets get caught in the propellers of the ships. Sometimes even authorities cut off fishing nets, but we have to continue. This is our way of life.
Environmental expert warn gradual accumulation of pollution in the Bay of Bengal and changes in the climate could pose an even further threat to fishing communities like the Jolodash along the coastal regions of Bangladesh.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, Zambia National Sports Council has told Camnet Sport that the resource envelope meant to fund different sports federations are usually not adequate. Council Chairperson Patrick Mutimoshi notes the need to equitable distribution of resources amongst different sports disciplines. He says this will make other sports rather than football feel equal. We have more in the following report.
The National Sports Council of Zambia, created through an Act of Parliament in 1977 under the Chapter 142 of the Laws of Zambia, to promote, coordinate, monitor, evaluate, register all sports associations. Zambia National Sports Council says the resource basket meant to fund different sports federations that are affiliated to the institution is most times not adequate. In an interview with Camnet Sports, the chairperson says there is need to have equitable distribution of resources amongst different sports disciplines.
Develop the criteria which we use. We sit once we receive those applications or requests to be able to deal and fairly treat in accordance with the availability of funds that are available. But just to mention that the resource basket is not as big as it should be, because on one, you're dealing with aspects of not only allowing those resources to be used for competitions, but those are resources also that can be used to develop talent, to develop sports in this country. As you rightly know, we had an encounter with our minister, the new minister, Honorable Elvis Nkandi, and our meeting was really productive.
Mutimushi has since called on sports associations not to feel inferior.
Associations are facing. And as National Sports Council, we've tried to endeavor to ensure that we provide the necessary support when it comes to funding. We do have a number of sport federations that write to us whenever they are holding competitions, whenever they are having challenges or want a particular sport. Support from the National Sports Council. The thing is, within the National Sports Council Act, we do have funding resources that are allocated to the National Sports Council on a yearly basis, of course from Treasury through the Ministry of Sport, Youth and Art, which therefore we use to be able to look at those requests that are made by sporting federations.
The National Sports Council of Zambia has 43 associations that are affiliated to it to develop and implement grassroots and mass participation in sport aimed at increasing participation rates within their sports disciplines. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
To end the news, we'll take a look at stories making headlines once again. Negative perception on COVID-19 vaccines prompts government to relaunch the program. Domestic workers to start reporting bad employers on a toll-free line. Non-state actors implore government to stabilize the KWACHA. And in international news, Biden and Xi discuss Taiwan amid spike in CROSS-STRAIT tensions. And in sports news, the National Sports Council of Zambia justifies limitation in funding sports federations. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13, and it reads, "No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it." My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching Camnet TV Main News. Bye-bye.